Hey guys, welcome back to another video. This is Monday Morning Quarterback. I'm Prince. Thank you for tuning in, and we got some big news that I'm going to review at the end of the episode. So make sure you do me a favor, tap in and subscribe. Your brain wants this smoke. So, feels good to be back. It's a rainy Monday morning here in Nashville, Tennessee, but hey, we're doing good. We're living. And yeah, I got to watch some football yesterday. Nothing, nothing really. It wasn't a very good day of football. I mean, nothing really stood out. I'll just say that. I don't know. It felt like this whole season has been weird, and that's kind of what I'm gonna go over in this video. Is just the weirdness of this season. Like, there's so much going on, and there's usually always one team that you could point at and be like, this is the team. That's not the case this year. Teams you expect are going to win don't win. And like the Ravens, I mean, they got a win yesterday, but like this season as a whole for them has been very much lackluster, you know. Now that is due to injuries, but like, I mean, I'm not saying that they're making excuses, but I don't know how often you could cite injuries as the main reason for not being able to go out and play because you got teams like the 49ers or the Buccaneers who have winning records. I mean, the Bucks are 6-2, and I know that the 49ers kind of fell flat yesterday, but I think that's only their second loss of the season, so they still have a winning record. So, now not to fault the Ravens, but you kind of expect at least to get a win or two. They've been pretty bad this season, but they're not the only situation where teams haven't performed. I mean, the Bills had a 2-game losing streak. They went against a hot Carolina team and went out and stopped them 40-9, an absolute blowout. So yeah, this whole season has been very weird. But before we kind of go into all that and why it's kind of been as strange as it has been, we got to give the CC, the Clutch Cortex Player of the Week. And this didn't really take me long because if you were watching Sunday night between the Packers and Steelers, like I was, you saw, well, in case you didn't know, it was National Tight Ends Day yesterday, and the tight ends balled out. They absolutely balled out, but no one had a better performance, nobody, than Tucker Kraft. That guy popped off 140 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was unstoppable. The Steelers have been bad to tight ends all year. Like, that's been their weakness on that defense of theirs. But this was on a whole nother level. He just tore into that defense. They could not stop him. He was unstoppable. Like that, as simple as that. So I, it was hard for me to make an argument for anybody else. Jonathan Taylor had another great week, but I've already put him, and I didn't want to. I felt like Tucker Kraft kind of outdid him because I mean Taylor won against a soft Titans team, so that was expected that he was going to do good. I'll tell you who surprised me: Saquon Barkley. He hasn't had the hot start of the season that he did last season. I don't think anyone was expecting him to put another 2,000-yard season, but you at least would have thought he would have had a 100-yard game, or he would have had, multiple scores by now. And, he's been pretty quiet all year, averaging about like 50 yards or so a game, but he exploded against the Giants. He came back in there and he knew what he needed to do. And my God, he popped off 130 yards. I mean, he was unstoppable, especially in that first half, like just absolutely unstoppable. There's nothing the Giants could do. So yeah, he was a close second for getting the award, but the Clutch Cortex Player of the Week, I think, it's Tucker Kraft. I mean, he went above and beyond, 2 touchdowns, 140 yards, National Tight End Day. You get the win against Aaron Rodgers, you know, making sure that he can't beat every team in the NFL or be one of those guys. I mean, I don't know. This is impressive. That really impressed me. So I have to give it to him. So congratulations, Tucker Kraft, for receiving your award. Now, another news. Talk about the Titans for a minute. it's, it's looking rough to be a Titans fan. Now, I wasn't expecting the Titans to win. I really wasn't, but it's at this point, I don't even think we could blame the coaching staff as much as it is the entire team, because this is Mike McCoy's second week as intern head coach. Um, an unfortunate loss to the Patriots last week, where in that Patriots game, at least in the first quarter, even into that early second, they played good enough where maybe they could do something. This Colts game, they were never really in it. They were pretty flat for most of that game. Um, and 1-7, and well on their way to getting the number one overall pick again if they keep playing like this. Cam Ward hasn't looked great. You could tell that he isn't getting the pocket time he needs, and when he is, he's not making the right throws. There was I think this was third down. This was towards the second half, so where the game was kind of already out of hand, but Chigo Conwo was just running up the middle, and he was wide open. There was no coverage there. He was wide open. All Cam Ward had to do was throw that ball, give it some air, right? And Chig was going to run away with that for a touchdown. Would have been a great play. Cam Ward steps up, makes the throw, right? He throws it, overthrows it by about 5 yards, falls into fourth down. They punt it away, and another lost drive. So it's been things like that that have just been underwhelming it's just been an underwhelming season to be a Titan fan. Like, it's just sad. It's not even, there's no other words for me to say it. At this point, it's sad because I wouldn't say it's the coach now as much as it is the players. Because we thought it was the coach in Callahan. Maybe a coaching change would turn things around or get a win. And in the 2 weeks McCoy's been there, you got 2 losses and 2 near blowouts. A blowout yesterday, and the week before that, you lost by, what was it, like 15, 20 points? I mean, just unacceptable. So they need to figure out a way to start getting wins or to try to rebuild this franchise, because it is not looking good. It's just awful for all around. That's my little scoop on the Titans. There really isn't much to report. It's a tough time to be a Titans fan. Really is. Yeah, pretty bleak there. So yeah, I thought that this week I would talk about just the weirdness of this season in the NFL. No team stands out or really dominates. Um, if you would have told me that the Jets would have gotten their first win against the Bengals in Week 8, I would have told you you're insane, because I wouldn't think that a team would be winless until Week 8. But here we are with the Jets, which, by the way, I don't know if you watched that Jets game, but what a crazy sequence. If you're the Bengals, how could you fumble the bag and lose to the Jets and lose to Justin Fields, a guy who was told by his team that he was going to be benched, and then somehow starts and then leads his team to a victory, to the win, and you were up by like more than 10 points. I mean, I'm not a Jets or Bengals fan, but I think you have to admit, as a Bengals fan, that's pretty embarrassing. Pretty embarrassing, especially when you were up and had control for most of that game. So the fact that you let it slip, especially in an easy one when you're trying to turn your season around, is not a good sign. That's not even the weirdest thing. Like the 2 best teams in the NFL are the Colts in the AFC. I mean, if you're looking at record-wise, they've only lost 1 game. They are 7-1 and are playing at an incredible level, right? Daniel Jones, most improved player of the year by far. That blows my mind, because Daniel Jones was not supposed to be the next quarterback to redeem himself. No one saw that. At least I didn't. And as far as I'm concerned, no one in the media was advocating for Daniel Jones or saying that he was going to transform the Colts and they were going to be a playoff team and have the best offense in the league. No one was expecting that. Nobody, right? If you were, put it in the comments, but I was not expecting the Colts to be good, and I wasn't expecting Daniel Jones to just absolute ball game in and game out the way he has and make it look effortless. Yeah. And then on the NFC side, we've got the Packers who are technically they're not number one because they have a tie, but they've only lost one game. And the Packers are, yeah, I mean they're doing good. They really have some close wins. Last week they had a close win against Arizona, almost went into overtime, almost lost that game, right? But they're looking okay. They're looking pretty solid. But if you would have told me that the Colts and Packers would be the best teams in the AFC and NFC, respectively, in terms of their record, I would have looked at you and said, there's no chance. What are you talking about? Yet, that's the case. And to further, I guess, for Daniel Jones, he's top five in like passer rating and total yards, QBR. Like he's leading the league in almost, or top five in almost every single category, which is impressive. What's even more impressive is on top in that list, or on the top five for most of those categories as well, is Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford, the same Matthew Stafford who was having back problems, and everyone was questioning the Rams on whether or not they should have kept him or if he was fully healthy or what his situation was, who was also in his late 30s, by the way, is also leading the league in passing yards. Yeah, again, I never would have said that Matthew Stafford is going to be the guy who's going to lead the league in passing. Because why would I think that? No disrespect to Matthew Stafford. No disrespect to Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones had been a bust. He'd been labeled as a bust, and he played like it. He's removed that label very quick. Matthew Stafford, I wouldn't say he was a bust, but no one was saying he was still elite or still a top five quarterback. He's played like a top five quarterback. Justin Herbert, another guy who, had his rookie season was great, and his second sophomore season was all right, but these past 2-3 years have kind of been okay for him. He hasn't been as good. Harbaugh this year, I don't know what the change has been, but we've seen a drastic improvement in Herbert's game, and he's playing a whole lot better as a result too. And those are like some of the best quarterbacks. Josh Allen's been okay. No, I mean, he had a great game yesterday, but for the most part, he's not in that MVP form, that same form as he was last year. Still good, but not like top five, I'd say. Maybe just outside the top five. Patrick Mahomes is having a great year with the Chiefs. I wasn't expecting that either. Like after the Chiefs started 0-2, it's like, can they come back? Is this going to be an off year for them? But they've come back pretty strong, and I'd say in the AFC are the most likely team to reach the AFC Championship or at least make a Super Bowl as of right now. I feel like they're the most complete team in the AFC. I would have said Ravens earlier in the season if you asked me, but the Ravens, big shock too, just have been awful this season. It's been abysmal. Now, granted, they did get a win against the Bears, right? So that's good for them. At least gives them some hope that maybe they could turn their season around. But even in that Bears game, they weren't playing at a level in which I could be like, they look like they could turn their season around. They just haven't been that team. The Texans only have 3 wins also. I wasn't expecting the Colts to outdo the Texans in the AFC South, but that's been the case. Jacksonville, Liam Cohen has been great. Cam Ward and the Titans. I mean, Cam Ward, you could make the argument that he's been the least talked about number one overall pick in NFL history. Like, there is little to no coverage about him other than local Titans fans and Titans like news sources because he just has it. He's kind of been forgotten about. And other rookies, because you got Tyler Warren, Emeka Ibuka, Abdul Carter, Scadaboo, Dart. Like, you've got other rookies doing great, but Cam Ward has kind of just been forgotten about as a number one overall pick, which I don't remember when the last time that's happened. Because Caleb Williams, right, last year's number one overall pick, he's played solid, but like he's being talked about, and the Bears still have hope in them. So even from like a number one overall pick standpoint, Ward isn't being talked about in the media. And I don't know if that's because of the team he's on, because it's the Titans, the Tennessee Titans. So it's like they're already a smaller franchise in the league. So there's not as much heat or attention towards them. Or if it's because they're bad or he's not performing. I don't know what it is, but unless you're a Titans fan, no one else is discussing Cam Ward or his future, which is very strange because I don't remember when was the last time that happened where you have a number one overall pick kind of just fall through the cracks and be forgettable. Like that's never happened. At least I'd say it's been a while since that's happened. I couldn't tell you an exact year, but it's at least been 5-10 years since we've had a number one overall pick just been forgotten about like that. So I think that's definitely something interesting and something worth noting. And this is something that I've seen league wise too. That is a league wide trend. But this season has felt very boom or bust in terms of performance. And I'm not talking about player performances because that's like a week to week thing. Like, for example, Bijan was supposed to do great against the Dolphins, and everybody thought he was, but ended up having a pretty rough game for him. Now, Bijan's not a bad player, and he's probably going to come back next week and go out and dominate and ball the way he has the rest of this season so far. But he did have a rough game. So I'm not talking about players as much as I am just teams in the entire league as a whole. And I looked this up because I was curious, but last season, the 2024 season, there were 71 blowouts. Now, there's not an exact number for blowouts, but the recognized number amongst fans and the league and the general public is 30 or more points. You lose by 30 or more points, that's considered a blowout. So that's the standard that I'm going against and that I'm going to use just to make a point. So last season, there were 71 blowouts, the most by far within 10 years, the most of this decade, the most dating back to at least 2015, right? So it's been a while since there have been that many blowouts. As of this season, we've had 8 blowouts already, and we haven't even reached the half point of the season. We've already had 8 games decided by 30 or more points, which you may look at that and be like, that's not a lot. That might be, but 30 or more points to have a game like that, averaging 1 blowout per week, that's not a good sign. It's not a good sign for a team. It's not good football, right? As a fan, you want to see your team, even if they're not good, put up points or be competitive or at least do something. This is what kind of blew my mind, though. In the season, through 8 weeks, right, we have had 18 games decided by 20 or more points. So not enough to be considered like blowouts in the sense that they were 30 or more where you had total domination, but 18 games decided by 20 or more points. That's through 8 weeks of the season. So while you may not be getting blown out, you're still losing by 20 or more points. I consider that a blowout. If you're losing on both sides of the ball, even if the other team doesn't score 30 on you, right, or shut you out, to have that for the league is not a good sign. It's just not good football, too. You want the league to be competitive. You want close matchups. You want matchups that are going to be entertaining, that are going to bring out the best from your players, from the team, from the coaches. And that just really hasn't been the case this year. There have been close games, right? Or that have gone down to the wire, been decided by one score or less, right? I don't know why I said one score or less, but there have been games decided by one score, or that we even saw Dallas and Green Bay back in, what was it, week 3 going to overtime, week 4, right? Now that game ended in a tie, so I mean, say what you want about that, but there have been entertaining matchups. Some. There haven't been enough, and I think that's the problem that has also made this season as weird as it has been. 18, 20 plus matchups, 20-point matchups, that's not good. And it's showing that we're leading towards a trend where blowouts are pretty common, because that's kind of been the trend where we've had 8 blowouts, right? That's not good. 18 games decided by 20 or more points, not a good metric either by any means. So what does that mean? It means not good football. It means fans aren't happy. Players aren't willing to go out there and do their best if you know the game's already out of hand, right? So it's led to a very interesting situation where no team really stands out because of it. Because even good teams have been blown out. I mean, you want to go back, talk about the Bills, like 2, 3 weeks ago when they played the Falcons, they got destroyed. But then fast forward to this week, and they destroyed the Panthers, who were on a roll, who thought that the game would be close, even if you thought the Bills were going to win, that the game would have been close. And what we saw was the Panthers lost 40-9, right? That's not good football. What happened? That's not good football. It shows that teams are about the same. Maybe you could say, okay, maybe the Bills and the Panthers are the same in terms of like the players, now they've performed, but when you look closer, it's like that's not good. It really isn't good. The Chiefs going from 0-2 to getting a win to falling to 2-3. They've been a train wreck this entire season, yet they somehow look the most composed through 8 weeks of the season. They look like the best team, which I wasn't considering that, especially after the first 2 weeks of the season. Loss. I mean, not a good way to start out. The Packers, even though they've been winning games, they've been like close games. They won against the Steelers. That was an outright win and a comeback in the second half. But if you're watching that game, it was very much close in the first half. Then it very much became one-sided, and it was all Packers momentum, especially heading into the fourth quarter. And that's what we saw. And then the Packers kind of just went and they dominated the fourth quarter and they got the win. That wasn't a blowout, but it wasn't an entertaining game to watch. The first half was. It was defensive, a lot of 3-and-outs, but a lot of defensive stops, good special teams, which special teams, that's a whole nother issue. I understand that the NFL is trying, or at least they think that they're trying to look out for players in terms of player safety and player health. So they, use the new kickoff system, right? And they said it's supposed to be entertaining and it's going to limit the amount of concussions and injuries. But instead, I feel like, and this is more personal opinion and some science, I feel like, maybe not science, but at least personal opinion, I think that the new kickoff has led to boring football, because what has happened is kickers have never been more valued, because kickers are kicking like to the 5-yard line, and you're just stuck there and have to go on this long drive. So it leads to these long drives or drives that kind of fizzle out and lose their spark, and then you have to punt, which, no disrespect to punters, but you're watching a football game. I don't want to see you punt the ball 3-4 times in a game, right? I don't want to see you kick a field goal like 3-4 times in a game. Now, when it happens and when you have to kick a field goal, yes, go ahead by all means. And it's not a knock on kickers. But when you got like Chris Boswell getting you most of your points because you go on these drives and you can't get points, so then I'm watching Chris Boswell drill a 60-yarder, a 58-yarder, okay, it's good that you made it in terms of keeping the game close, right? From like in terms of a point standpoint and trying to win, but it's just not good football. It's not entertaining. Yes, no disrespect to Chris Boswell, but I don't want to see you kick 4 field goals and that be pretty much the source of the majority of your points. But that's what we're seeing, and it's league wide. Brandon Aubrey, another good example. Brandon Aubrey, amazing kicker, but I don't want to see Brandon Aubrey kick 70-yard field goals because his team can't go down and score because they have these long drives starting at their own 20, 30-yard line, but can't generate any momentum. So it turns into this drive in which Aubrey's attempting to kick these insane field goals. And it's not just the Cowboys and the Steelers that are doing this. It's almost every single team in the league where kickers are just having field days with the new playoff, with the new kickoff system. There's only been one return touchdown this season. One. Which return touchdowns are exciting. They're like just to watch it's accelerating. Like you feel like you get pumped, you feel that adrenaline rush in you, and you're hyped. Even if it's not your team, right? You like to watch that. There's only been one return touchdown this season. Through 8 games, there's only been one. If it stays on this trend, it'd be the fewest that we've had in a season since at least, I think, like 2012, 2013. And I could double check on that, but that's not fun. That's not good football. If I'm Roger Goodell, if I'm the commissioner of the NFL, I'm moving the kickoff back to where it was before, like 2 years ago, right? Where I can actually see players get in there, make tackles, try to get their team good field position. We're just not seeing that. So it's led to kickers having to bail their teams out and get them 3 points. I don't want to watch kickers just drill field goals. No, again, that's just not what fans want. It's not what fans want, and it's not what fans should expect. Yet that's been the product that's been presented to us, is that you're going to watch Chris Boswell, Brandon Aubrey, Fairbairn, like any place, like any kicker you want, just go out there and lead the team in scoring and drill 3, 4 field goals a game. No, thank you. That's not what I want to watch. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't think you guys want to watch that either. But that's what we've been presented with. No team stands out. No team dominates. Special teams is just I don't think we've ever relied on kickers more than we do now. Running backs are even wide receivers, like you got your skill position guys who have been very boom or bust as a whole. You know, like your guy's either going to have like a touchdown and 100 yards, or whether that be passing or rushing, like receiving yards, or they're going to just fizzle out and not have a good game at all. The teams that you expected to be good and atop their division are not, and the teams that had the least expectations on them are the ones accelerating and doing amazing. We've seen a ton of injuries this season. I feel like maybe, I don't know the exact number, but I feel like it has to be more than last year, or we're approaching that number. Cam Scadaboo went down with another injury too, and he's been electric all year, just a fun guy to watch. He's got an injury that's pretty much going to sideline him for at least until like week 16, 17, like for most of the season, if like what they confirm is true about his leg. And he's just the latest guy to have a severe injury, or like 4 or 5 game injury, like that kind of ruins momentum for your team or keeps you out that long. He's been the latest too. So that's even another trend that you want to look at and talk about how it's added to the weirdness or the overall strangeness, I guess you could say, of this season. So yeah, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. We'll just keep watching, and that's what we're gonna do, because at the end of the day, we are fans, and no matter what, we're gonna watch the product that's presented to us. But hopefully, And I hope that you guys kind of feel the same way or want this for yourselves too when you're watching on Sundays or Mondays or Thursdays, right? Good football, entertaining matchups. I don't want blowouts. I don't want 20 plus point matchups. I want close, hard fought, gritty wins, right? Where you got the offenses clicking, the defense is playing where you might have to kick a field goal, but I shouldn't be watching kickers and punters go at it, or just that's the only thing, that entertaining matchup that happens throughout the night, right? That shouldn't be what we're seeing. So hopefully we can start to see some kind of change as we are reaching the second half of the season. We could see at least some team separate themselves or make themselves a contender, or just really stand out, because as of right now there isn't a team that stands out or just dominates. Even the Colts, who are 7-1, yeah, they've played great and they've played good, but strength of schedule, I mean, haven't really played too many tough opponents. They had the Rams, that was a good game. But yeah, even the Colts, right, who are the best team in the league, I don't think you could say are Super Bowl contenders or even AFC Championship contenders, right? No disrespect to the Colts, they have played great, but they haven't stood out from like the Lions or the Chiefs, or done enough to stand out in that way. So yeah, I mean, hopefully we see something change. Chiefs take on the Commanders tonight. Um, I think the Chiefs will get a win here just because the Commanders are banged up. Jaden Daniels isn't going to play. I think they have some defensive injuries too. So I think Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, that offense has been clicking in recent weeks. So I think they'll be able to do what they've been doing, which is just utter domination on both sides of the ball. And I think they'll get the win for the Chiefs. I think this is a definite Chiefs win. Maybe that we could see a change in trend, like where it's a close game, but I don't think it will be. I think you'll be relying on kickers, if you're Washington, relying on the leg of Matt Gay to keep you in the game or to give you 3 points just because your offense is stale and can't move the ball or do anything. So we'll have to see what happens. All right, guys, before I wrap up the video, quick note. I did launch a TikTok account at Clutch Cortex. So if you can do me a favor and go to Clutch Cortex on TikTok, and this is free, it's easy, simple. Go there and make sure that you subscribe on TikTok too. Make sure you're subscribed on the channel. Thank you, boys. I'll see you on Friday.